Oh, okay. What's going on, everybody? Woo, baby. Okay, so get right into it. I have an episode that I made a while back. Gnostic knowledge, demons, archons, and so on. You might have saw the picture. Now, I don't know if the views have changed yet, but when I looked at it last night, it was at like 600 and some views. I was like, wow, that's pretty good. And like my next video after that is at 147 views, something like that. Now I had some other videos that had more views with some, one that comes to mind is the one I have with the Greek doctor talking. I mean, in the first day it had 200 and some views because it was him telling everybody how coronavirus is blah, 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 blah. But that obviously got pulled off. And so did some of my other videos that were doing really good. They were controversial, so they got pulled off. But nonetheless, so I opened it up today to show, to take a look at it, because I was thinking about doing a part 2. And when I say part 2, what I mean is I'm going to do a redo of this video with the knowledge that I have now and expand on some of the ideas and or change some of the things I talked about or said in there that may no longer be accurate. But anyways, when I pull it up, it says 666 for the views, and I thought that was just too funny and coincidental to show. Because anybody watching me right now who believes in 666 mark of the beast shit, are going to be like, this guy's devil, he's a demon, and that's fine. I don't need you listening to this, because please don't take this the wrong way, but you are swine. As far as I'm concerned, in my reality, there is no devil, there's no Satan. Is there adversaries? Yeah. Is there potentially entities and thought forms of a baneful nature? Yeah. But we create all that. It's us humans that create those shits. We're creating all the evil that there is in this world. There's no spiritual being out there that wasn't created by anything else fucking with us. Everything that's fucking with us is us. So I'm guessing you saw the picture, if you're watching this video right now, that shows that I have 666 views. I mean, I'm sure that's more now, but I mean, that's fucking cool. This might be one of my first videos that ever hits 1,000 views, which would be pretty sick. Now, that being said, if you combined everybody who's listened to it on my podcast, it's definitely been, this episode itself has definitely been watched or heard at least 1,000 times. But nonetheless, I think it's pretty fucking cool. Still very much very far from partner status for YouTube, and with all my content on here that is kind of ripped off from other people, I don't know if I'll ever actually get partner status, but nonetheless, doesn't matter. So there's a few things I talked about in there on this episode that I want to go over, and this specific episode here is a part 2. And the part 1, I'm not quite sure where the part 1 is or I know, but I'm going to probably listen to that too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I do with Jordan Peterson videos. I'm going to break off clips and listen to what I said and then break it down further. That's the plan anyways. But as of right now, there's one thing I remember saying was, and I was giving an example about somebody making a pact with a devil for their soul, or with a demon for their soul. But people are just drawn to demonology, demonic devils, dark stuff like that. I mean, I think everybody has an aspect to them that is like that does draw them there. And once again,
She may have. Why don't you brush your teeth then?
Demons and see the power, and that demon tries to make a pact with you. I mean, I've never been there, so I'm only going by stories. But let's say you do this, and it makes a pact with you and offers you a whole lot of stuff for your soul, or I wouldn't even say that, but something you have to keep doing, otherwise he's gonna take control of your body, let's say, so to speak. Well, that's a pretty heavy price. You fuck up and don't give it what it wants. Well, it's a pretty heavy price, but the thing it's offering is probably a pretty decent fucking thing you might want to. Therefore, that could be interpreted as your dark side taking over. You're willing to do everything, sacrifice your own family, your life, your soul, just to get fame, fortune, some money. That's just not going to fulfill you. You'll get all that, and then what? You prolong doing your actual inner transformation for some money, a bigger house, some more cars that, you just have to keep sustaining. So you either have to hopefully you got a job out of it that keeps paying for these bills, because if you didn't, then you're fucked there too, because you got to keep paying this demon to keep this going. Otherwise you lose it all, plus you got to keep paying your bills. So to me, it's not worth it, but that's a good way to, test yourself to see if you're as dark as you might be, or if, whenever given the option to do something dark, if you can rise above it and have that potential to do that darkness, but choose not to, which is big on the whole shadow, dark side, shadow work shit Jung talked about, most New Agers talk about. But these beings would be okay. Sorry about that. That was yesterday. Today's a new day. I was trying to rush and get my episode done yesterday, but it was not even close to doing anything. So anyway, I'm trying to continue what I was saying just there real fast. I had a bunch of books on here, demonic books, let's say, if you want to go that far, The Tree of Death, all that. And I've watched many of Frater Xavier's videos. Somewhere people have wrote into him saying, hey, I didn't listen to you, I evoked a demonic, I am a goetic demon, and now my life's falling apart, going to shit. Is there anything I can do? Where he says, oh, well, where's the people that told you to do this? How come they're not willing to help you? And then he actually goes and helps them, even though they didn't take his advice. He's a nice fucking guy. So when things started going bad in my life, I tried to look around, and I assumed that nobody would be casting on me. So maybe it's because I have these things. I wasn't really, I started studying thought forms, and I had my conscious belief that demons were thought forms, but it wasn't embedded in my subconscious yet. I mean, is it now? It's hard to know, right? Things that are in your unconscious or subconscious are kind of out of sight, right? You have to really drill them in there, and you can start saying maybe they are in there at a certain point, and then, you hope to God that you're fucking right. So what I was trying to get at was I did a symbolic representation to banish any demons out of my life. And it wasn't any goetic style, any King Solomon style. It wasn't anything like that. It was just physical representations, generic, symbolic representation of any and all demonic forces. And I managed it. Now, it's funny though, because from what I know, from their programming and all that, first of all, you have to, and this is what I know now more than anything, you have to allow them in for them to affect you. Not only that, I do work every single day, most of the time twice a day, with the archangels, which have dominion over these demons, one form or another, you know what I mean? So there was really no reason to worry. And seriously, what I come to believe, when I come to find out, I was literally doing the damage. So the doubt that I had in my mind, the possibilities that I let enter in my mind, that because I have these books, because my life is seemingly going to shit, and I couldn't be me, I was doing everything right, which is probably wrong, I was still trying to get rid of victim mode shit, still trying to, trying to realize that everything I do is a result of my actions, you know what I mean? And that's something you always got to kind of realize and have in the forefront of your mind, It's not hard to get self-righteous whenever you think you're doing everything right. And I mean literally, like you're trying to help other people, and you're trying to, you're trying to figure out what you need to do, but at the same sense, like you're really trying to go above and beyond. So you can start feeling self-righteous in those moments. Which, some of it's deserved, but other parts of it is just, it's just not gonna, it's a hard balance. And if I was to tell you that I mastered it, I'd be a fucking liar. So, but point of this story is I did symbolic representations to banish these demons, and for a time things stopped because I did the symbolic representation, and in my opinion I showed my mind that I was willing to take the steps necessary to banish whatever is in my mind. knowing what I know now, okay, seriously, like, whether I'm right or wrong, I could be completely off base, and maybe demons aren't thought forms or servitors, which I highly doubt. But if they're, because I have such a strong belief that they are created by humans, me being a human and understanding the laws and how thought forms and servitors are, and how they can affect us and manipulate us, but really it's a human being that has created that, manipulated that to affect other people for their, because I understand all that, it's like the ultimate protection. And because I have such a strong belief in that, whether it's right or wrong, it's literally protecting me from anything demonic or anybody's other entities, for that matter. And I know there's going to be people out there maybe that are magical practitioners and say, oh no, I can send you to thought form that affect you. And maybe you might be able to. From what I know, I can bat them away pretty simply. I have many things in my room, my temple room for this. Now, this is not for me to gloat or pretend I'm better than anybody, so I got to get off my high horse real fast here. But first and foremost, before I get into this nature of what I'm going to talk about, this episode, I really want to state, because I said it in this episode as well, and it says it's over a year ago. Now, I was under the impression that it's almost 2 years, but it says 1 year ago, so who knows. But I stated it in this episode, my belief that angels, demons, gods, everything besides elements, if I didn't state it, well, I'm stating it now, but elements, elementals, the Watchers are something I'm not quite sure on, to be honest, right now. But when it comes to angels and deities and demons, everything besides the fucking elements, elementals, and definitely the planets, I think are man-made constructs, thought forms, servitors, things that we have created, okay? That is my belief. And that belief is literally one of the main things that keep me protected and able to perform magic very well. So, however you need to get that programming into your mind, I really highly suggest doing it, because it's going to help you on every level. Because then you propel yourself to the person who is at the level of the people that create the sigils and the entities and the thought forms and the egregores and the servitors. All those stories about the curse of King Tut, all those tombs. Well, we know that. This is one of the places where the thought form studies and shit, egregores come from, these places, because they literally created entities to protect their dead, protect their tombs. They like to bury their dead with gold and stuff like that. Plus, they didn't want their remains being dug up. Even I think it was Leonardo da Vinci used to dig up bodies, not around King Tut or anything like that, different places. But the point is, he used to try to figure out the brain and the mind. He's on record, or it's in public record anyways, of him doing that. So, but anyways, we know that these people created thought form servitors that affect people. Now, there's writings on the walls and stuff like that. That gets in the person's subconscious, right? And you can make the argument that, well, just them saying that this thing's been protected by spirits could get in the person's mind or whatever. Yes. But honestly, the sigils and the symbols of the actual entities they created on those fucking walls are what are affecting the people's mind. They created a thought form. That thought form has something it feeds off of, probably their fear. So what's it going to do? It's going to scare them to get their fear to feed off of it. And because basically what's going to happen, it's going to be there starving until people come around. So when someone comes around, it's going to do everything in its power, as strong as possible, to scare that fucker so it can feed, because it hasn't been eaten in a while. Okay? Its home is that tomb. Its job, its secondary job, all that shit is there. It might have a kill code, but whoever died and didn't leave the kill code to anybody else, or the retire code, well, it's dead with them. So this thought form is just there, and if it gets enough energy, if people go there enough, then they can conjure up enough energy to break from its programming and evolve into something. Its home is that tomb. Its job, its secondary job, all that shit is there. It might have a kill code, but whoever died and didn't leave the kill code to anybody else, or the retire code, well, it's dead with them. So this thought form is just there, and if it gets enough energy, people go there enough, then they can conjure up enough energy to break from its programming and evolve into something, and potentially even leave there, okay? These are the laws of egregores, servitors, and thought forms. So this is just explaining what happens at the tomb of King Tut, for example, or any of these old Indian burial sites, okay? This is what they did. There's many things I got to get through. I'm going to try to connect it to working with demons and all that, but one of the main rules you need to know when you're working with a servitor is to never give it an actual physical link to your body. So you make this thought form and you bring it into being through microcosmic orbit and or middle pillar, that electricity, that energy through your ritual. That's the energy you put into this being to bring it to life. But you can do anything you want. You can leave a sympathetic link to your hair, your fingernails, whatever. But I was told by many people that I've learned how to do this process from to never leave a sympathetic link with your thought forms or servitor, because there's a distinction there. This is something you've created that you're in charge of that you have to kill off. Once again, you don't take care of it, it can evolve or fuck you up, and everything returns to its original source. But I don't know, and I don't know how you can prove this, but things can get fucked up when you leave them part of your body, because when it's time for them to die or you to die, because you guys are connected by a physical link and not just mind, magic, spiritual, ether, astral, because you're not just connected, because that thing is something in the astral realm that can affect this realm. That is an unseen force, that when people's minds come close, it can affect their minds. It can't hurt the person, but it can do things to make that person so scared that they hurt themselves. That's what these things can do. That's the nature of it. If you give it something that grounds it in the physical, then it gets kind of iffy. So just don't ever do that. Now this is something I want to tie into demonic goetics. Once again, don't practice. I don't have a sword of King Solomon to banish away demons. I know a hell of a lot about it, as much as you can with theory and watching and talking and learning from other people. But I only take people for so far at their word, right? But what I'm trying to get at is what I said about the pacts. Maybe you evoke this demon and this demon wants to make a pact. I don't, and I have no way to know, but I don't feel like that's accurate. I don't think this demon's going to say, hey, you want something? Give me this, like a fucking genie, okay? And the way I stated it there, that's what it sounded like. And after listening to it, it sounds ridiculous. More likely, and this comes back to what I said, that us humans created these things. We create all the evil in the world. And Praetor Xavier says normally the reason people get people into pacts is because they have to get so many people into a pact to get out of a pact. And I take that for what it is. I don't know that first-hand knowledge. I don't know if that's true or not. But Praetor Xavier knows a hell of a lot more about this stuff than I do, so I would take his word for it. Now, so if we take that idea that people get other people into pacts, and people make books about, hey, you want fame, you want fortune, you want to be a star, you want money, evoke this demonic fucking force, say you'll give it whatever you want to give it, whatever it is you're going to trade with it, and then you'll get what you get. And maybe they're the ones that say your soul, give you your blood, make so-and-so trade, whatever the case is, okay? And that gets you into the pack, and because they got you into the pack, it's one less person they got to get into a pack for them to get out of the pack, right? It's one of these triangle schemes, basically. And I'm not saying this is accurate, I'm just saying this is what I think, and this is what's coming to me from where things come to me from. But it's just a testament to show you that the demons are there, they've been created, they're thought forms, they do a job, okay? If they conjure enough energy, they can evolve into something else, and maybe they have. Maybe they used to be gods, and they were changed into demons. Now, I'm of the belief that there are the straight-up demons, and then there are deities that have been turned into demons, okay? But both of those are not synonymous. Now, once again, going through the archangels and the planetary energies and everywhere where they govern, and the things they're not legislation, they're what they govern over, the archangels are over, okay? You can place deities into those. You can place the planets into where those archangels are. And I try not to pretend the archangels are above the planets or necessarily above any of these deities. However, you can make that case. You can make the case that the archangels are, I wouldn't ever say they're above the planets, but they have correspondences to the planets, and therefore the archangels are, I think, specific deities, specifically created to protect you from if you are doing any demonic evocation. Now, I think the demons were something that were personified, created because of human nature. I think initially, now I don't know, I think this is one take of it, but I think initially what happens is there's all these bad things that people do, just like there's all these good things that people do. And just like giving deities personifications for the good things people do, you know, it's like, Jesus was with me, that's why I got that touchdown, and this wasn't on my game today, the devil possessed me. Like, I don't know, that doesn't make sense. But the point is, you can deify or demonize anything that's of a human nature. And maybe whenever you have bad things happening and you can't stop doing bad things like addictions, like gluttony, you know, like whatever, well, instead of having to give that a symbolic representation and banish it out of your life, you can just evoke that demonic force and get it to fuck off, and or call on the archangel that governs that part of your life to help you banish that out of your life and invoke the opposite. Now, this is the use of using the archangels or the demons, and this is why there's not necessarily a need to go to demonic evocation to get the demons to knock off their stuff, or to even get information from them, because you can evoke other things, parts of you, speak to parts of you through either meditation or even just doing the other ways of scrying and all that. But instead of using a demon, you can use anything that's perceived as a life force. Now, this is not to go against anybody who likes talking to demons and using demon evocation. I think if you do everything right, you're okay, and I think there's a lot of important things that can come from it. So don't get that twisted. I'm not trying to say it's bad. What I'm trying to do is anybody who thinks that's the route they gotta go because their magic hasn't taken off yet, I'm just trying to give them all the information before they fucking go ahead and do something that may get them in trouble. Because seriously, what I worry about, go ahead. What I worry about is people like me, okay? I had this fear in the back of my fucking mind that, holy fuck, man. I had the fear in the back of my mind that I might have an attachment to me and might be able to be corrupted by demons because of the books and things I was looking into and just being in magic in general. And things started to go to hell. And I'm pretty positive that I gave that the power, and not that it was something done to me or something that was released. And now more than ever that I truly believe that actually is in fact the fucking case. From everything that I've known and studied over this year since this episode. So I don't want people to get into this and then be scared and then get all fucked up. Because the truth is, they can do it successfully as long as they're not frightened by it. Once they're frightened by it or scared, then, or think that's the worst has happened, well, then it's going to happen. So I'm trying to give all information. But I'm going pretty long just on this one idea, and it's not all I want to talk about. I want to get into Gnosticism, knowledge, maybe gnosis a little bit, which is completely different. Definitely the archons, demons, and all that. But I do need to wrap this up and get to the point what I'm trying to get at. So, when it comes to making pacts with these things, it's not the demon necessarily telling you to make the pact with it. It's you doing the same ritual over and over again until you either get a response and or don't get a response. But you do it so many times that you do a symbolic representation, ceremony, ritual. Okay, I always say ceremonial magic is the shortcut to getting something in your subconscious, that you can use affirmations, but it's the long route that, you know, residual works, but it normally happens when you least expect it, kind of thing. But that ceremonial magic is a shortcut because you are the symbolic representation. You are doing the fucking ritual itself. You are now embodying you are putting energy into it, using your physical body, putting it into the astral, so it's faster. So anytime you do a ritual, whatever that ritual is. But I do need to wrap this up. Point what I'm trying to get at. So, when it comes to making pacts with these things, it's not the demon necessarily telling you to make the pact with it. It's you doing the same ritual over and over again until you either get a response and or don't get a response. But you do it so many times that you do a symbolic representation, ceremony, ritual. Yeah, I always say ceremonial magic is the shortcut to getting something in your subconscious, that you can use affirmations, but it's the long route that, residual works, but it normally happens when you least expect it, kind of thing. But that ceremonial magic is a shortcut because you are the symbolic representation. You are doing the fucking ritual itself. You are now embodying you are putting energy into it, using your physical body, putting it into the astral. So it's just faster. So anytime you do a ritual, whatever that ritual is, you are performing magic, and you don't necessarily need the 20 some odd days to make it a habit to get in your subconscious. You are avoiding all those rules, all those steps. So you're doing a ceremony to talk to a demon, to have pain, and you're giving it your blood, you're telling it you're going to give it your soul, and you have your soul whenever you're done with it, whatever the case is, which, you got to understand something about that. Your soul is not really yours to give. You inhabit, in my opinion anyways, I think I got this idea from EAA Poetic, to be honest. I'm not sure. But your soul is yours, and you use it, and it'll help you know things. And, what we don't know about our soul, that etheric, spiritual part of us. You fill many books. Like, I can fill, I don't even know how many fucking gigs, but, whatever's bigger than a gig, times, a billion, that much data storage you can fill, But the point is, for us to say you can have our soul, it's a risky thing. Because who knows what happens to our soul, right? And if you make that promise, then in the next life, your soul wants to go reincarnate, but it can't because you promised it to this lesser spirit that's way lesser than you, that you have the authority to command and control. It's just silly. I wouldn't do it. But nonetheless, even that being said, I don't think it's something you can actually give. I don't think it's something you have the authority to give your soul. You have the authority over these demons, but I don't think you have the authority over your soul to be able to give this demon your soul. Now, I don't know. Obviously people have been saying this and doing this for quite a while, so maybe know more than me. It just seems likely that we would be able to give up our soul for something in this lifetime to this lesser spirit. But in all honesty, if that's something you're thinking about, I want you to think about this. This demon is a lesser spirit that you can command and control. The archangels were put there potentially to control these guys, to summon them so these things can't affect you because they were created, they were put in our realm, however, and maybe we can't delete them or banish them, so this is the alternative, creating. Maybe we can create entities, but maybe we ultimately can't banish them. When other people create them, those people are gone now. Who knows? Maybe there is a key. This is what I said a long time ago in an episode, that if I knew how to banish away all the demons and set them free, and I don't mean free on society to cause havoc, I mean so that they're not locked and bound there just to cause us harm, I would totally do that. I would totally go and just release them from their programming that everybody's programmed them into, and, retire them, kill them off, and this way they're no longer there fucking up humanity. But as long as there's books about devils, demons, and programming, and people believing in it, they're always going to exist. But the main thing you can do to avoid the worry of having a demon fuck up your life, now once again, I don't know, but it's just my speculation that demons are not, they are created things, and they negate, people are going to say, demons are way worse than spirits, entities, and they're strong. It's yeah, but they've been collecting energy from people forever, for such a fucking long time. There's no doubt in my mind they've evolved, but at the base level of it, it's still a fucking thought form, and we can still command that fucking thought form. That's the whole point of knowing the things I know about poetic evocation, as if all else fails and I'm wrong about the true nature of these things. Well, I know what to fucking do. But as far as I know, since I've known this, since I've been able to realize that I am above these things, any thought form, any entity, maybe besides the planets and the elements, even though the elements and elementals, they may not be as powerful as human beings, but they are still a powerful force that, it's very hard to control. You do have to command them to your circle and release them politely, go back and all that, and direct them, because they're just raw energy. But, it's not like an entity. But anyways, that's quite a bit to take in there. My point was to close off some ideas here. The main point of everything I just said was basically to point out that you can start learning and understanding everyone's thought forms and how everything might be that, then you are going to be ahead of the game and don't have to worry about demonic evocation and archons and all this shit. I'm telling you, there's no doubt in my mind. I don't like using absolutes, something I like reverse, but there's no doubt in my mind that these things are all created things from human beings. Once again, we create all the good and the evil in this world. There's no gods, there's no devils, there's no adversaries doing it. We create adversaries. That's what these things are. These things are created adversaries. And that's one of the links and the things that I liked about Monsters Inc. that I think really pointed it out well. These monsters are in another realm, scaring people, right? Getting their energy from them, but they don't know why they do it. And then after they're done, they just go out, they eat supper, they're in their own little fucking world. And then finally, when someone talks to one of them, they find out the true nature of it. You can go and look at people that have talked to demons. And some of these demons are quite nice and quite cordial, and you can talk to them, and they're very, very polite and all that. But it doesn't mean sometimes they won't trick you, they won't be rude to you, they won't be mean to you. Some of them are downright nasty. Why is that? Because they're programmed. They're programmed for specific things. Now, once you can get beyond that programming and have a conversation, and when they realize that they can't affect you because of whatever, or they're still trying to affect you and they're trying to be nice to you, doesn't mean they can't tell you things in the process. They will. And it's kind of like that if you ever watch Monsters Inc., he takes that little girl home, they're both frightened the shit of her, but then they come to like them, get along with her, and don't want to see her go, but eventually she has to go. These are entities from another realm. That are programmed to do a task. They are scanning humankind, but it comes down to it, they really don't want to interact with us because they don't even know why. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things I really liked about that movie, was that it really shows you that these thought forms, these entities, these demons, whatever they are just simply programmed to do a job. They're not this evil that was put here by anything. These are all just stories created, and the more you believe in these stories that were created to explain these things in these weird, fucked up ways, the more you're creating that as a possibility, the more you're creating the entities that so-called created these things. It's just human beings using their imaginations and emotions and turning these things into real fucking things. If you want to do this process, there's a lengthy process to do it. But some people have stronger and easier abilities to put their emotion into a thought and create a fucking thought form. Alright, before we go any further, let's do a little recap on what I said about Monsters Inc. in my podcast originally. A couple 2-minute clip there. And then I'll prepare to do this as a job. But in the movie Monsters Inc., which was the first one, and Monster University was, I guess, the second one, but the prequel, so it predates it. So the monsters are scaring kids to get screams, which, after the kid screams, it registers because they have this portal, which is like a doorway they go through, and there's this cartridge attached to that, and it goes all the way up with red, and it's basically from their fear. They're collecting fear, which is one of the two main emotions that we use in magic to bring things into being. And so the reason why this made sense to me, which I'll elaborate later probably with what I wrote, but even Infinite Waters talks about archons and how they create situations to make us scared and feed off our energy. He's one of the, maybe not the first person, but probably one of the first persons I heard mention the actual name archons instead of just talking about entities, negative, low vibration, energies, whatever. So whether you think an archon is a egregore or servitor was kind of along the lines of what I was thinking, but it is what it is. Anyways, so the monsters are scaring kids to get screams / power. But the monsters aren't told why they do it. Now they know to a certain extent that, and I can't remember the reason they need that energy. I think it's basically because at the one point, the one guy who was the head honcho and not the necessarily bad guy, the one who plays Saturn, the Dark Emperor, plays both sides, once again, pretends to be friends with us. I think it's Scully. I don't know. The big guy. Yeah, Scully. Or Sullivan, who is the top scare. And the bad guy is this lizard-looking thing, which basically goes invisible, kind of like a chameleon. But it's a monster, obviously. He's the obvious bad guy. Mars, maybe even Mercury retrograde, who knows? But the main guy who's behind it all is perceived as a good guy at first, but he looks pretty dark and then turns out to be the bad guy. Well, he says a couple times that this is how they're fixing the energy crisis, and because kids aren't as scared as they used to be, and so basically they have this plot to abduct the child and take scares directly or fear directly from her instead of going at night and doing it the way they've been doing it for years. But the monsters, like I said, don't actually know why this is how they get that fear. They know they need that fear to survive, and it's just something they do, just kind of like 9 to 5 grind, programming, whatever, you go to work, pay bills, gas up your car. Well, for them, this is what they do. Anyways, but it's like akin to that energy, their electricity, let's say, their energy grid, gasoline, fossil fuels, whatever you want to call it. All right, so the monsters are told to not touch the kids, because the kids with one touch can kill them. So these monsters are going there and scaring these children to get fear as basically electricity, energy. So they're going in there intentionally scaring these kids, getting their fear. But at the same time, they're being manipulated and told that if that kid touches them, they will die. All right, because you see the one monster go through, have a sock on his back, and there's a big process to decontaminate him, and it's a big bit. So they're going in there and scaring these kids, while at the same time, when they're not in that character, in their controlled environment and what's comfortable, when they are out of that, whenever a kid comes through or they have something from the human realm on them, it's a pretty big deal, and they're in fear themselves, the monsters, which is kind of a weird paradox, right? They're scaring these children to get energy, yet out of fear, they don't spike their curiosity because they're told they will die just from a single touch. So they're told that the kids would kill them, and they are touched. If they are touched as a way to not interact or spike the curiosity or even try anything else. So they don't try it. This can be taken, multiple ways. One could be, akin, like I said, to archons or evil entities that we can't see, that, control, manipulate our fear, or scare us and thrive and even feed off of our fear. And maybe they don't even know it. As a side note, because the kid actually goes missing from her realm, right? She follows through and touches him, and obviously he doesn't die. But I just thought, as a side note to point out, because I know a lot of people like to talk about how many missing kids are going missing, and, this kid actually goes missing for, we don't really know how long. She gets returned, obviously, in the end. But anyways, just thought I'd point that out. So anyways, let's keep going with this. And maybe even archons, as stated in previous episodes, are created as servitors, egregores by, the Gnostics or whoever wrote that first Genesis story. They put all these entities in there, and you'll hear it later or after this, but you'll hear every entity from Yod-Heh, or Yahweh, Jehovah, the creator God of the Bible, being an entity, or a servitor, egregore, to, the archons, Sophia, and even the seven, the demons. All these are within these writings, and there's other ones within the Bible itself. So anytime you write something about an energy, entity, a being, basically, and you have all the criteria of what it does, and people believe in it, and whether they believe in it with love or fear, that fuels that, and it makes that entity real. Doesn't matter if it's an actual thing you can feel, touch, taste, or smell. As soon as you believe that the devil is a real being, and if you do bad things, you'll go to hell. Well, whether or not there's actually a place called hell, and fucking forked tongue, red fire-breathing fucking devil down there is irrelevant in your mind. It's going to scare you either into doing good or worshiping him even, who knows. But the point is, it's now become real. So there's a lot of different and weird connections to magic, entities, fear, love, all this shit within this movie. It's pretty cool. So maybe they are servitors, egregores, created by Gnostics or whoever, and are created to scare us and to put and keep belief in, the minds, the collective people, in evil spirits, demons, devil entities, and likewise, if there's those bad entities, well, you need to pray to the good ones to save you from them. But there's humans that created these archons, these. All right, what's going on? Okay, so what you just heard there was from my podcast, just like the previous ones you heard previously. That's from my podcast more than a year ago now. Like I said, it was like 2 years ago, but somehow we're wrong. Obviously, YouTube can probably keep track better than I can. In fact, YouTube's a busy place, but I'm pretty busy too. Anyways, so a couple things I want to talk about here. I think if you follow this to the end, like where my line of thought was going, I probably hit this, but just in case, I just want to note a quick comparison here between the monsters, how the monsters are scaring the children in Monsters, Inc., but are scared out of interacting with them. So they scare them to harness their energy, the fear, and that fuels their realm. Now we can get into that. We can get into how energy, we use the middle pillar. When I say we, I mean magicians or witches. We use the middle pillar, microcosmic orbit, magical practitioners to make entities, servitors, egregores. All the ones that are already made that most people are fueling right now that have no idea are using their fear or their love or just their thoughts in general towards them and the type of way they feel towards it. They're fueling that. All this energy is creating that realm, okay? That realm is sustained. Sorry, that's a hard way to put it. But anyways, just they are using the fear in the movie. They're using the fear from the children to keep their world going. It's like one of their main resources, right? When we make entities, like I used earlier, the King Tut, I can't remember the name, the Tomb of King Tut, when I said they made, this is well known, you can look it up easily. Maybe if I find something on it, I will play it for you. But this is a created entity by people to protect their dead. Now, the monsters, the egregores, they are kind of like us in this regard. Is the kind of comparison I want to do. So I know I've been making the comparison that monsters are like a thought form, and the people are like the people in the movies, right? That little girl being scared by this entity at night that she can't see. They can walk in and out through doors. Now, a child is more likely to see these monsters. However, these people can see these monsters, but they go in and out unseen so that they can have that element of surprise, that fear. Because if they're seen and they can be captured and they can be decomposed, then there's nothing to fear anymore, right? Anyways, way off topic, but the point I want to make right now is the way monsters are manipulated to stay away from human beings so that they can keep harnessing that fear, so their economy can continue, so they can keep getting the resources, is very similar to the way that the reason why I felt bad when I started doing magic. The reason I felt bad when I started doing even just New Age stuff. Every time I got into a little further into New Age stuff, like, okay, well, I'll do the law of attraction, but I'm never going to touch that magic or witchcraft stuff. Okay, I'll start ceremonial magic, but, I'll stay away from witchcraft and black magic. Okay. I won't do. Okay, I'll start ceremonial magic, but, I'll stay away from witchcraft and black magic. Okay, there's some good witchcraft, but I won't do dark moon magic or any Saturn or Mars magic. Oh, okay, well, you can use Saturn and Mars to banish stuff, but I still won't do baneful magic. See what I mean? I always felt a little bad because I was programmed that this stuff is of the devil and bad and to be avoided. Kind of like the children in the movie Monsters, Inc. They were to be avoided. You go there and scare the shit out of them. We take that resource. But don't let them touch you, they'll kill you. That's a paradox, but people do what they're told, even if it doesn't make sense. If it's and people Saturn and Mars magic. Oh, okay, well, you can use Saturn and Mars to banish stuff, but I still won't do baneful magic. See what I mean? I always felt a little bad because I was programmed that this stuff is kind of like the children in the movie Monsters, Inc. They were to be avoided. You go there and scare the shit out of them. We take that resource. But don't let them touch you, they'll kill you. That's a paradox, but people do what they're told, even if it doesn't make sense. If it's part of a plan and it's always been done, people will just follow. Now, that's organized religion in a nutshell, is it not? People are starting to pull away, and they're kind of asking questions now, wondering why. What's going on? And if this being in this book is so powerful and has made these floods and all this shit, why hasn't this happened? This is where the nihilism has happened in the 1800s and the 1900s. This is why we had world wars, because people realized there was no God coming, so let's believe in our country. But then when you start believing in people that have both evil and good within them, well, they are not striving to be good for the good of their place, okay? I'm not saying just to do good things just to be good and let people shit on you. That's stupid. But what I'm saying is to try to strive to do the best things that's the good for your house. See, right now, for my family, what's good for my family might not be good for someone else's family. You know what I mean? If there's something going on and I have to protect my family, even though it means breaking a law, well, that's what's good for my family in that moment, even though it may not be good based on society, is kind of what I'm saying. But anyways, point I just wanted to point out here was that we are told to stay away from magic and the demons and the angels and maybe not the angels, but you pray to these things and they will do their thing for you. Using the archangels in the way I use them might be to a priest or a Christian might look like black magic, might look like devil worship. And then they have their heads completely spun if they watch somebody like E.A. Koenig, who's actively and, pronounces himself as a dark magician and says he calls on the dark forces. I've said it many times already that I haven't done demonic evocation yet. Why is that? I know all about it and I could start practicing it. I need a few more things before I started because I'm very well versed in the theory, but I've never done it. And that's part of the reason. First of all, I don't need to necessarily because I'm being able to support my family and manifest the things I want and work my way through this world as I need to right now. So there's really no need for me to go and evoke a demon. Now, that's not me asking for a demon to come pop up and do something, which, once again, there's no need to worry about that. There's no need to worry about unseen forces just fucking with you for no reason unless you invite them in. Once again, all I wanted to point out here was the correlation between people staying away from stuff like dark magic or magic in general or sorcery or witchcraft or all that stuff because it's of the devil. You know what I mean? They tell us to stay away from it. People just do and take their word for it. But then when people actually go in and they're curious and they dive into these mysteries, they find out there's nothing to fear. That was used just to manipulate us, just like it was in this movie, because I found out at the end that love, laughter, more or less, that was when the kid laughed, was way more powerful than the fear. Way more powerful. Way more energy. And that's how the movie evolved. They were able to make these kids laugh instead of crying, instead of being scared. And it fueled everything. Everybody worked in coordination, worked together, blah, 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 happy ending. But it's a beautiful story and movie, and it's archetypal in a weirdest way. You know, yes, you have these hero stories, and you have the plots, and you have the characters, and you have the protagonists, and you have all the main things that a good story needs. But it's archetypal in the sense of our society. Like, why would this speak to people? Why would this matter? Why, you know, and, you know, the main thing that shoots out at you when you first think about the story in the archetypal way, and the archetypal way is kids, people as children are scared of what's in the dark, what's in the night. And if you listen to someone like Jordan Peterson, he's going to tell you the kids aren't stupid. They're scared of the darkness. They don't know what's in the darkness. Parent comes in and says, okay, what are you scared of? Okay, let's go take a look. Okay, there's nothing to fear. They calm their child down, and he'll say that's okay. But he's like, there is something to be scared, to fear in that darkness, in that unknown, in the dark. There are things to fear. And he's not wrong. There is things to fear in that dark. And that's one of the main archetypal stories. It's like, oh, this is an excuse for what happens to children. Why are children so afraid of the dark? Why is there this intuitional feeling that when the lights go off, it's scary? And it's because, well, when the moon's out, that's the unconscious, the subconscious. That's the subconscious mind. That's the astral. That's the other realm. It's dark because everything is not lit up. We can't see in between space as well. You know, when I turn off this light, it just looks black. It looks like there's no walls here. I'm going to run into stuff, right? If I start walking around. Yeah. But it just looks like it's all blackness. And that could be filled with things that are unknown. And you let your mind wander a little bit. You hear a sound, you start thinking. If you're someone who's not scared of anything, sit yourself on your bed and start imagining that there's a monster in the corner. And see how long it takes you to get the fuck up and turn on that light. I bet you it wouldn't take you very long. And that's your imagination. Your mind can make things so real. Now, does that mean they're really there? Or is that just fake? Well, it's a bit of both in my experience, because that thing wasn't there until you invited it in. And that's the main thing I'm trying to get across here. The minute you invite these things in, you start looking into them, you dive into this stuff, the demons and all these stories, and you want to learn more about it. Then you're inviting the possibility for these kind of things to happen. Now, if you're drawn to that, that's not your fault, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, because I was too. But the problem is when you start listening to somebody tell you without a doubt that demons are there and they're going to do this unless you do this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm here to say that simple rituals that we do with ceremonial magic will keep you free from all that bullshit. And you won't need to worry. And studying how thought forms and egregores are, and you start seeing how they're programmed, and you start looking in history and all the different entities that have been created by other people and different things like the tomb of King Tut and all this shit, you'll start seeing the parallels. Like, it'll come crystal clear exactly what the God of the Bible and other gods and deities, exactly what they fucking are. I have no doubt in my mind. It happened for me, and it happened for you. It's happened for many people. And anybody who hasn't gotten there yet, it's okay. You'll be there soon. Just be patient. It'll come. But take these things one step at a time. But in a sense, all the magic we do is basically creating these entities, these forms of thought. We have this statement of something you want to manifest. Well, that's a form of thought, because you can say it, you can put it in a spell, you can act it out in a ritual, you put your emotion into it, you make it real, you're using action, you're moving around, you're being passionate about it, right? You're turning that thing, that idea, that thing you want to manifest into a form of thought, a thought form. And it will go out there and affect everybody's minds, and it will manifest in your life. Now, does that mean it's like a being, like some spirit you see on a movie? No. Does that mean I know what the fuck that is? No, of course not. Oops. Alright, sorry about that. I got cut off, but, yeah, so what I'm saying, I'm not trying to say that the magic that we perform, we create a being every time. But we are manipulating a type of energy that we can't see. Okay. Now, when we create an actual thought form, when we create an actual thought form, this is why the thought form process and it works, because you're defining it. I can't say this is why it works so well, but in my estimations, it's because you're defining it. You're actually giving it a body, giving it a look, okay? You're constructing it. And the whole time you construct it, whenever you make the thought form, you make it look like something specific, depending if it's something that's supposed to affect people, maybe it's to make your YouTube channel more popular. So maybe it's going to be like a computer itself. Its head's going to be the monitor, and it's going to have a keyboard, and then maybe the mouse for one hand, and then whatever you make it. The hard drive's the body, and then speakers for the hands, maybe, or for the ears, or whatever the case is. If it's some kind of warrior to protect you, you're going to make it look like a Rambo motherfucker or something like that. But you're going to put energy into all that, put energy into his look, and you're going to write what his programming is and all that. So it's a little more defined, and this is why thought forms is a long process, but it really works well because you're literally creating like an ethereal, a spiritual being to go do stuff for you. And that's what people have done with these deities that I'm talking about. They've given it forms, people don't necessarily describe God, but there's a certain picture when you think about God of the Bible, if you've read about it. Maybe even if you haven't been taught about it, like in Catholic school, like I have, you still have some kind of idea that comes to your mind when you think about that. And that's because that's been constructed somewhere. And that's what the being looks like to most people. It's pretty striking if you ask a lot of people to write down a picture or describe what they think God looks like, and a lot of attributes would be similar. But the point I'm just trying to get at here was all magic is a type of thought form. Sometimes it's literally just energy you're sending out there. You're trying to get rid of something and put something into your realm. But by visualizing it, you already having the thing. You're affecting the field of energy, whatever you want to call that. Okay, it's basically the merriment between the physical and the astral, plus with your energy in the middle, manipulating it, telling it where to go, basically. But all that's just to say that all magic is thought forms. And one of the best things you can do when you get into magic, once you start, evolving and getting higher and higher, is to study thought forms, because it's really going to illuminate everything for you. And it makes everything so much, not simpler, because none of this is simple, but it makes things a lot more easier to understand. You're like the goddess of philosophy, or the goddess of wisdom, Sophia, is philosophy. So every time I study philosophy, I'm basically sacrificing to the goddess of wisdom, Sophia, to my time to learn her secrets. You know what I mean? It's almost like taking on that deity. But anyways, I'm going to play two little clips from the beginning of Monsters Inc. right now, just so for anybody out there who hasn't seen it, you kind of know what the fuck I'm talking about. And then I'm going to get into a little more deeper into demons and things you can do or what not to do, or what their nature is, and expand on archons and expand on the watchers, all these beings.
It could let in a child.
Oh, Mr. Waternews.
There's nothing more toxic or deadly than a human child. A single touch could kill you. Leave a door open, and a child could walk right into this factory, right into the monster world. I won't go in the kid's room. You can't make me. You're going in there because we need this. Our city is counting on you to collect those children's screams. Without Scream, we have no power. Yes, it's dangerous work, and that's why I need you to be at your best. I need scarers who are confident, tenacious, tough, intimidating. I need scarers like James P. Sullivan. Okay, people, Eastern Seaboard coming online. We got scarers coming out. Hey, may the best monster win.
I plan to.
We are on in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. You're pushing a big, hairy monster. Oh, I'm feeling good today, Mikey. Yeah.
Oh, attaboy. That is all coming right up.
You're still behind, Randall. You know, maybe I should realign the screen intake.
Just to get me another door.
The door, yes, door. Well, Jerry, what's the damage so far?
We may actually make our quota today, sir.
First time in a month.
What happened?
The kid almost touched me. She got this close to me.
Was it scared of you? She was only 6.
I could have been dead. I could have died.
Keep it together, man. Hey, we got a dead door over here.
We're coming, Steve. Look out. That's the way.
We've lost 58 doors this week, sir.
Kids these days, they just don't get scared like they used to. What a rip! Sir?
What?
Attention, we have new scare leader, Randall Long.
Slumber party.
Never mind.
Well, James, that was an impressive display. Oh, just doing my job, Mr. Waternews. Of course, I did learn from the best.
If I don't see a new door in my station in 5 seconds, I will personally put you through the shredder.
Hey, Wazowski, nice job. Those numbers are pretty sweet.
Are they? You know, I hadn't even noticed. And how is Georgie doing?
He's doing great. I love working with that big guy.
Keep the doors coming, Charlie. I want to roll today.
George and I are like brothers. 23
Okay, people, take a break. Gotta shut down for a half hour and reset the system. An entire scared floor out of commission. What else could go wrong? What a day. We're just going through a rough time, sir. Everyone knows you're going to get us through it. Tell that to the board of directors. James, this company's been in my family for 3 generations. I would do anything to keep it from going under. So would I, sir. Say, I could use your help with something. Anything, sir. You see, we've hired some new scare recruits, and frankly, they're inexperienced. They stink. I thought maybe you might come by tomorrow and give them a demonstration. Show them what it takes to be a tough scarer, huh? I'll start out with the old water noose jump and growl. Now that's my boy.
All right, woo-woo, what's going on? All right, on the road again. On the road again. Let me get the shades on. All right, can you hear me? All right. So, I was gonna play a clip from my video to help me spark some ideas, but the last thing I was speaking about was how these entities, these demons, these egregores, these thoughtforms, these gods, devils, things were created entities in a book, okay? Now, this doesn't change anything, like when I do my candle on Saturday, me putting Satan on there for Saturn, it doesn't change anything. I use that. I use these things to my benefit. I command these things. This is what I told you. I pay respect, homage, give offerings, but I command these things. This is how you do it. This is the quid pro quo. This is the exchange. This is how you barter and deal with these forces. But I am in command of these forces. Now, that being said, the Catholic Church, let's just get right into it. The Catholic Church has told you about Jesus and God, the devil.